The link control interface supports writes and reads too. The link control interface supports writes to from registers in the partnership that only one instruction may be in. Only one instruction may be in flight at protocol messages for partnership authentication at initialization ends.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Howdy, howdy. This odd issue with Zoom where it only will let me share if I move Windows over to a specific monitor. It's only on this computer. I don't, for some reason, no other computer has that issue. There it goes. Now let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, okay. So I guess it's we skipped last week. Sorry guys, I've been traveling a whole bunch. I think I was it was on vacation over Christmas and New Year's, so I was traveling for that. I flew from my vacation to Las Vegas for CES, and then oh yeah, then I guess we had a meeting that week, and then I flew home for a day, and then I was in Shanghai for over a week. And then I got home Monday, Sunday, something like that. And then I've been kind of slammed since then. So I've managed to squeeze in some editing here and there. Um, but not as much as I had hoped. Um, I'll talk about what I've done so far, and I think I just uploaded a version, but again, it's mostly minor changes and reformatting things and moving little bits around with no substantive content changes. I added a definition here. I need to reorganize these based alphabetically or something at some point, but probably not a big issue. I'm not sure if people really bother doing that. Actually, let me change. I
Hey,
can't
hey,
remember what.
Brian, I'm looking at the work in progress folder. I see both control path spec and reformatting control path spec are updated.
Yeah, I just changed the name of the other because there was one called new control path spec,
Uh-huh.
but it was actually the old document. So I changed I changed that to reformatted because that was the or pre-formatted or something like that.
Okay, okay.
Just to make it clear that that was not the new one. And then I updated the previous name of the other document was path spec v1, but in order to keep the versioning going, you have to use the same name. So I changed the name so it's not it's there's no version in there. It's whatever version I'm uploading at the time. So uh yeah, I just named that to control path spec. And then
Okay,
I had updated that one this morning from whatever I had on in Word at the time.
awesome. Thank you.
Again, I think for the most part, changes are relatively minor. Um, from anybody reading its point of view. Um, and a lot of the little edits I've done are things like this, just clarifications and cleaning up of language. I've added some comments about places I need to go back to and reread and rethink about. Like the content's fine, it's just either worded awkwardly or repetitive or whatever, and so it just needs to get rewritten. Okay, on the ECC section, on the whole sideband protocol section, um, we kind of wrote it as we needed it. And so I thought I had moved some stuff around, but it, at least in this version, wasn't moved. So maybe I was misremembering. So I moved some stuff around and took the ECC and broke it out into a separate section, which is hard to see with all the markup. So let me change it back to simple markup. Um, so now instead of having ECC like in the middle of everything, it talks about the command fields, it talks about the um the formats here, and then it immediately goes into the table talking about um the command breaking down the command field itself into the pieces before or all the more detailed description before then going into ECC generation instead of having ECC generation like um, in the middle of the block of text. So I felt like that worked better from a reading perspective better. I didn't really, except for real minor things, didn't really change any of the content here. It's still basically the same thing. Um, I don't think yeah. Oh, I went through in a lot of places where I like mention something like mention another subsection, like the pre-configured sideband IP stuff. I actually um, made all those cross references. So if we end up changing the format of the document to add chapter numbers and stuff like that, it all automatically gets updated instead of having to fix all that later if we change names or formatting or whatever on the titles. Because that's something also that I was thinking about whether we needed subsection numbers or whatever. Um, oh, I moved some of these things around here. I think again, no substantive changes, just changing the text so it flowed a little better because it was again written originally as we were adding things to it. Um, I have some notes here. I don't like the way this is worded, but I didn't have time to really rethink about how to reword it. So, and we also have like this section here where we talk about, oh, it has read requests and write responses and and read responses or write responses and things like that. We say that like 4 times. So I wanted a better way of saying that. Same here, like this, we need I changed there was kind of a munging of the different protocols between sideband and link for a while, and so I had tried to to separate that, um, but I don't think it really all got done. So I do need to reword this intro section here. I did change it a bit where it says instead of saying the link control interface implements registers. It actually just requires register access because it uses registers. Anyway, small little things like that. Um, anyway, that's what I've been working on, reformatting in that regard. I haven't run into anything so far that's like um, that we really need to discuss from a technical perspective. It's just stupid tech writer stuff. Um, I don't know if anybody has any other suggestions on the document formatting that I need to take into consideration, I guess. So I guess I don't know. I probably have another week or two of picking at this thing before I feel like it's probably gonna be done. For in terms of properly reworded and actually readable. What is what's the review process past that in terms of open chiplet or ODSA or whatever we're calling ourselves nowadays?
Oh, that's a good question. What did happen for the link layer main band? Has anybody been here during the review
That's
process?
actually I have that same question
So,
because we did a we so there was a release of that document, but in terms of the group, I don't think we ever got. I never saw a comment period or any comments coming back or anything that we as a group saw. As far as I know, we just released one version of that document and it just kind of got thrown over the wall.
We could do the
so
same.
actually, there was a review period for the link layer document at some point. I don't know if they did that for the 1.1, but for 1.0, they did have a review period. And once all the review comments were consolidated, then they call something called a CLI. I don't recall what it exactly stands for, but it is basically all concerned companies come together and sign saying that okay, we endorse this doc, and then once that happens, then they release the final spec.
Right. Well, I remember the CLI thing because that was a giant pain for me. Um, I don't know how everybody's companies do those things, but it's always a pain. Um, But I didn't remember the review consolidation thing because from my memory, that was if it happened, it was very brief.
Yeah, I believe it was just, I mean, they just kept it open for a week or so, and then just briefly discussed some major comments, and then they closed it and just released the draft spec for CLI review.
One question, Ram. So, like for us, what would that look like? Is that we, the main participant, would review it, announce it at the ODSA level, or?
Yeah, I believe at least for the link layer, I think we reviewed it only as a group of participants who actually contributed to the spec. I don't think they opened it for a wider audience. I'm not sure if there is a way to do that. But then, yeah, I mean, I think limiting it to the group that contributed should also be good enough, I believe.
Okay. So this looked amazingly improved, Brian. And I think once you feel that it's more closer to the complete editing, maybe in a week or two, then we can just open it for discussion here. Maybe we can all go back and take a look, review it, and the next week we close it and send it for CLI review. So I think timeline-wise, it would be maybe sometimes mid-February. We we can start the CLI process or start the internal review and then the CLI process.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Um, I like to encourage people to let me know anything ahead of time.
So yeah, Brian, yeah, I would actually second Helia on that. That I think the spec is I think very well formatted now compared to what it was before. Just one note that I mean, when you move this or upload this as a Google Doc version, I think that there may be some loss of formatting. Just FYI, before you realize it the hard way, right? I mean, it
Right. So
usually.
we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and so right now I'm doing all the editing in Word, and then if people want to make comments and stuff like that, they can comment on the version that's up there, and I'll review those. But I'm keeping all the editing in Word and then uploading new versions, so it's one editor
Okay.
kind of a thing. So
Okay.
yeah, people are
And
free
and
to
then
still
when you
make comments
upload,
though, I'll try and review comments before I upload a new version. But it's just uploaded on top of the other one, and it keeps the version history in Google Docs, so you can go back and see the other versions. But it's one authoritative version that's being edited, in Word, so that
got
we
it,
don't lose the cross references and stuff at this point.
got it. Well, I think when you convert it to Google Docs, I think the Google Docs does strip off some features.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
hopefully it doesn't strip off the features that you have put in a lot of efforts to do, right? I think especially the cross referencing. I think
Yeah,
that's one of the
I think
difficult
we're
features.
done. I think we're done going all the way to Google Docs. You can still edit in on Google Drive in a docx format. You can still do
Okay.
minor
Yes.
edits there,
Yes.
but if you
Yes.
actually, but there won't be any importing into Google Docs, I think, at this point. Or
Right.
if
Right.
we
Okay.
do, it's a one-way thing, and then that's a different version.
I
Um,
see. Okay, makes sense. That makes sense. And then the other thing, I think this is a question for Helia, because when we spun off this as a separate doc, I think Bapi did it that way so that we can go and build a control spec independent of the main link layer spec. But then there was always an intent to fold this back into the original document. So if I hear it correctly, I think we want to keep this as a standalone doc going forward and not fold it into the main spec. Is that the right statement, or do we still plan to merge this to some existing doc?
I think Bobby was motivated to merge the two documents because starting a new or getting approval for a new standard spec is not trivial. And so that was the motivation. Is there any strong opinion to not merge the two documents?
No, I mean I'm okay with merging. I mean I don't have a strong opinion there, but I just wanted to wanted like even Brian to be aware that I mean this document will eventually get merged into some other document. So I'm not sure if we can merge it as a separate section and put it under that document. I mean if we can do that, then I think that's perfectly fine.
I mean, there's definitely some wording that would need to be changed. Because we talk about this document, things like that a lot. So I would need to, and that's mostly trivial though, just an hour or two of work. But trying to think of what else that would be a problem. I mean, what would it look like? Would it be like an appendix to like the transaction and link layer spec?
I think just another section.
Okay. Well, let me think about that. I don't, hold on a second. Let me look at the link layer spec. Yeah, okay. So this is definitely different formatting. Let me, if that's the end goal, I can try and merge the documents ahead of time. What would that even look like? Okay, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I don't know what that would look like right now.
And sorry, Brian, I didn't mean to
ahead.
cut you off.
Go ahead.
Do we have version 1.1 for the link layer? I see 1.0 only.
Yeah, I had actually asked request. I think I reached out to you and Anu in the past as well. But I think Anu, I don't know if she got a chance to respond. But I don't have access to any of the Google Docs for the link layer spec at all. Link layer and the file layer spec. So I cannot find anything on the ODSA Google
There's a
Drive.
version in that same drive that we're using for this
But
document.
yeah, but I think that's an old version. It's not the latest and the greatest that the group is working on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, even on the ODSA, let me actually share this right now to make sure you have access to that. Okay, so I'm gonna. Where's the if you have access to this ROM. So this is the link layer Google Doc, Google Drive. And the last one is the uploaded March 19 last year. And that is 1.1, 1.0. So if you believe there is a 1.1 somewhere, we need to find it.
Yeah, I believe there is a 1.1 somewhere. Because I don't know if it is just the 5 spec or whether it is the link and the 5 spec. But there was this Bo 2.1 efforts that were going on a year ago. It kickstarted a year ago. But yeah, I mean, I'm not getting a time to attend the link layer meeting. I think that's on Wednesdays. But I believe they did release something new
So
recently.
the one on the public website is still 1.0. So I'm looking at the PDF that we release. It looks the same. So there
Yeah,
might be another one floating internally, but I don't.
right. I think that there are some internal ones floating, and I think they also are working on some uniform universal memory interconnect as well. I don't know where they put those presentations to, because there are some bunch of people who presented different use cases for IoT and memory, where the spec was supposed to be adapted. And yeah, I'm not, at least I don't have access to any of those folders where they where they keep the working document for their spec.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Who would we
we,
ask about that?
Both
um,
2.1 updated.
sorry, Bunshan, can you repeat, please?
If we are referring to the both 2.1, I don't think there's any specs have been dropped out. It's just an idea only some activity.
I think we're talking about a transaction link layer spec, not the Bo spec itself.
I think the phi is past 1.0, but I still can't find it publicly online either, or at least through the Google search. Oh, 2.0.
I think the spec has already reached 2.1, if I recall correctly. But yeah, I mean, like you said, right? Even I can't get to that document.
Okay. So let me start some email with maybe include Elad and Anu and Jawad and 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 see what we can find, and I'll CC you guys here too. Okay,
Okay.
so anything else?
No. So just to be clear though, what should I actually be starting an integration with the other document, or do we want to do the review as a separate document?
I think it will be a section of the new document or a section of the link layer document. We could integrate and just review that section if we want to make that review a formal process. So I think we would release the next version of that document with the control path. But please hold on, because today we have 1.0, and if there is a 1.1, we want to merge with the 1.1. So let's get that closed first. How does that sound?
It sounds fine. I can hold off. Yeah, okay. Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.